Our next guest, she is a genius, and it took a while for her to get there. That's why I'm really excited to have her.
Yeah.
She is living proof that sometimes the lowest moment of your life can actually be a turning point towards moving even higher than you were before.
So true. After losing her job, her hope for the future, and nearly her life in a car accident, things turned around in the most unexpected and wonderful way. Shannon Chaney became DJ Shannon C. It was an unlikely profession that she never would have chosen or imagined herself doing before the accident, and also one that led her recently to one of the most prestigious gigs around. And DJ Shannon C joins us now to share her story. Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
Danny already has a symbol for you.
Put them up, throw up them C's. It's a Batman symbol. It's saying in the sky, we need DJ Shannon C to pump some fresh tunes.
Yeah.
Spin them discs.
Yes.
And when they needed a DJ for the biggest thing to happen here in Tampa recently with the Buccaneers, they called you. You were an official DJ?
I was. It was pretty awesome.
How'd you get that call?
So that call came through 2 different agencies, actually.
I mean, they were all coming for Shannon C.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was like, hey, can you wait, but can you switch this one? And I honestly didn't know if it was all going to work out, and it sort of worked out divinely perfect in the end, where I got to do pregame and then also postgame at the stadium. It was amazing.
Thrill of a lifetime. Top of your game, but I know that you had to hit rock bottom first before you got here. Take us back to the accident and how it changed your life.
Definitely. So 8 years ago, I was actually in a very different place. I was mid-level in a training position. I was on an extended contract, and I was sitting in my car one day waiting to get back home from wherever I had gone, and all of a sudden, the car starts closing in around me. That's really all I remembered. Is I remember being like, there was a jolt forward and everything was crumpling in, and I didn't really understand what was happening. And then the next thing I remember, someone had pried open my door and was like waking me up. So I had blacked out. I had been rear-ended by a semi-truck. He had hit me while I was at the stoplight, very hard, and then bumped me into the car in front of me. So I had hit and then back again. My car, which was a Toyota Corolla at the time, was kind of turned into like a little smart car, you know?
Oh
Thank God for that Toyota Corolla, though. I mean, it really saved me. But I sustained some pretty horrible injuries, as one would suspect from that, including something called a traumatic brain injury. So the jangling of my head back and forth and the loss of consciousness, which led to a pretty severe concussion. When your brain moves around in your head like that, it actually can get an injury from the inside of your skull. And so it resulted in me having something called a traumatic brain injury. Now, I also had TMJ, I had a few broken ribs, several other things going on, and I found myself, as I mentioned, I was at a contracted position. Well, the contract doesn't end, but your work does. So then I found myself without work. And because it was a contracted position, there weren't any benefits either. So, you know, I'm here, I'm completely broken, and I get out of the hospital. And so the thing about me is I'm a musician. I've played music my whole life. I've played in symphonies, orchestras. The piano is my primary, trombone is my secondary, and then play several others. And I came home from the hospital and sat down at my piano, like I do, you know, and it was like I'd never touched it before in my life. That was one of the biggest things I noticed instantly. The dexterity was gone. It was like I had oven mitts on, and my fingers wouldn't move the way that they had for 24 years before. And naturally, like anybody who sustains an injury that takes them out of something they love, I got really, really, really depressed.
Low.
As
So
you should. I mean, that's a lot to go through. And can you play the piano now?
I can.
Back? Okay.
I can. Now it's taken quite a while. It's taken about 7 years for my dexterity to return, and now it's okay, but it's mostly a lack of practice because I've found other things.
Well,
that I've
yeah,
spent
you
more time
found
doing.
DJing. Somebody suggested it to you randomly.
Right.
You tried it. It eventually became your full-time profession.
Yeah.
What do you think is the lesson in this for people? Because so many people, especially right now, are in a dark place, are having a tough time, and they think, I have no way to climb back out of this. What's your message to them?
I think my message is that sometimes the lowest, darkest place, or like the worst hand of cards that you get dealt, sometimes there's an opportunity. There's the biggest opportunity there. For me, I was comfortable, and I liked training, but I got into training because I wanted to be a performer. And it was the safest place within a corporate context to perform, you understand?
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I really wanted to do. I liked it, but I didn't love it, paid the bills. I would have never probably had the courage to jump out of that. And so in that horrible experience with that car accident, you know, and someone coming to me and saying, maybe you should try playing a record while you're waiting for your dexterity to come back. Maybe it'll make you feel better to push play, you know, on a song while you're waiting to relearn to play the song, you know. And through that, through the recovery and through learning that, I learned something new, but I learned something that ultimately shifted me into a career that I had ultimately always wanted. I always wanted to perform. I always wanted to play music for a living. And now I've played music for one of the biggest events in the world.
Yeah, you have.
Bravo.
And when you find that new passion, is it an aha moment? Is it a singular moment? Or is it over time you start to realize how much you like something?
I think, honestly, for me, it was over time. Because it didn't start off, again, as me moving into, let me do this as a job. It started off as something to do between the physical therapy appointments, between the doctor's appointments, you know, while I was looking for jobs and other things like that, to just kind of keep my happiness up, you know. And honestly, over like 2 or 3 years, it was just moving forward and surviving. It wasn't like all of a sudden, oh, I really love, I feel like, I'm trying to think if I remember really, I think for me, the gig that was like, wow, I think I'm doing what I should be doing, I played for the Salesforce Connections Tour in Atlanta, Georgia at the Georgia World Congress Center. And I was playing for that, and there was all these people, and it was this really cool thing, and like Stevie Wonder was there, and I remember thinking to myself, like, wow.
That's pretty cool.
This is great. I love it. And I'm doing this and I'm playing other people's music and making money. And
it's pretty cool.
And now she does that full time. Thank you for bringing your story and your message of hope.
Put
DJ
up.
Shannon C.
Put 'em up.
We'll be right back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.